This video is sponsored by Tarot Stack. Hey there, Cozy Babe, and welcome in to this tarot card reading. Thank you so much for joining me. I believe that if you found this reading, if it popped up on your feed, then it was meant for you. I will say that this reading, I am channeling it for when you find it for the next like 2 to 4 weeks. I intend these readings to go with the lunations, so with like a new moon or a full moon. So if you see this closer to a new moon, it's going to take you from new moon to new moon. If you see it closer to a full moon, it will take you from full moon to full moon. But a lot of y'all from the last reading I did like this really liked it. So I thought we'd come back and do another one. I honestly would love to do these every couple of weeks because I think that they are really potent and powerful working with those lunar cycles. But you'll see as we get into the reading, if this is your first time ever coming across me, there's a little bit of like prompts that go with these, and we're going to be pulling a lot of cards, and I don't even know what we're titling the reading yet, so that will come later. So you already know if you're here, but in any case, I do want to say before we get into it that today's reading is sponsored by Tarot Stack. If you don't know what Tarot Stack is. Tarot Stack is an online tarot distributor. They mainly distribute indie decks, so from basically decks that are from independent artists that you won't find anywhere else. And I actually purchased decks from them before I was ever working with them, so it was literally a match made in heaven. But truly, you will find some of the most unique decks there. If you're somebody that's into tarot, you want to get into it, or you have a friend or a family member that really loves it, it's a great place to order from because literally some of the decks that I have like certificates of authentication or authenticity because they are such like small batch created basically, and you won't find anything like it anywhere else. So I would definitely recommend checking them out. Every deck that we use in today's reading is one that comes from Tarot Stack. They will all be linked in the order that they appear. And at the top of my description, there will also be a link for their website. So they also have something for everyone. Like the decks that I have are an array for sure. But I really believe that like any kind of art style, any kind of deck, there's Oracle and Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. There's something for everyone, truly. So definitely check them out if it's something that you're looking for. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this reading. So first and foremost, we need the center of the reading, which is going to be our main theme. And I will show you all the cards closer as well. So don't fret, you'll get a really good look at them. But first and foremost, we have the King of Cups and Uranus. Ooh. Also, I do need to say, I am going to get my nails done literally today, but I have broken 3 of them. Prior to the last few weeks, I have never broken an acrylic nail in my life. I broke 3 of them. So I apologize for my ugly nails right now, but they are getting fixed today, just later today, and I need to get this video up. So anyways, the heart of your reading, I love this for this time period. Now, please remember my readings are always meant to be timeless, but if you're coming across it when it's new, we do have so much astrologically going on right now. Many planets are in retrograde. We just came out of an eclipse season that was pretty intense. And Uranus is changing signs. I want to say it either already has or it's about to this year, which Uranus takes like 6 years for it to move signs. So I feel like the fact that we have Uranus popping out right now, Uranus to me is the revolution. And obviously I can't speak to countrywide, and I try to keep a lot of my stuff political free because I think that this is a better place. Like, I am better served as an escape from that kind of stuff, and we need that. We need those corners of the internet that we can pull back from when everything feels overwhelming and our mental health is taking a dive. But I will say, I do feel like there is a lot of unrest right now. We have a lot of energy moving out of Pisces into the sign of Aries. And this creates a lot of unrest. It's like we are waking up from a slumber that we didn't even realize that we were in. And so collectively, when I see Uranus and the King of Cups, what I love about this for us collectively and for you as the individual is that to me, it's not even just like politically, there is this, oh, now is the time. There is no other time that we need to stand up. But it's also even outside of that, the non-collective, the personal, the individual, it's recognizing that you're not willing in your life to put up with what you used to put up with. Something in you changes in such a major way that it creates major change in every other area of your life. But here's where it gets interesting, my friend. We have it paired with the King of Cups. So you're not, the King of Cups to me is taking like, this to me is like, you know how they say the difference between intuition and your ego is that the intuition is quiet and it's calm, usually, right? The intuition is calm. That's definitely how I have always experienced it. I can always tell when my intuition is speaking to me because there's no alarm. There is no, and I think one of the craziest experiences that I could reiterate to you to kind of talk about this if you're someone that struggles with your intuition, and I promise this is pertinent to this reading, is that I will never forget, I'll keep it brief. I was in like a long standing, it had been over a year. I was undiagnosed. I had gallbladder issues. My gallbladder eventually got taken out, but it was undiagnosed and I kept having gallbladder attacks for over a year. And anybody that knows what that feels like, it is terrifying. It literally left me with medical trauma. Like I am, to this day, I am like a hypochondriac now. Literally left me with medical trauma because it went undiagnosed for so long and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. But I'll never forget the night that I actually got admitted into the hospital and they took my gallbladder out because I had gotten sent home from the ER again. And I will never forget, there was just this voice that came to me and it was so calm. There was no alarm. It was so calm. And it was just put your shoes on. You need to go to the hospital right now. And I wasn't in any pain. Nothing bad was happening. Like I was definitely not feeling great because I'd had this issue and I ended up with pancreatitis. I was hospitaled for almost a week. It was a lot. But my point is the intuition doesn't scream. There is no sense of urgency. There is maybe some urgency that you need to go and do something, but it's not this action of I have to get up, I have to run, I have to rush. It was get up, put your shoes on, go tell your husband you need to go back to the hospital now. And I just got up very calmly. I got my things together. I put my shoes on and I went to the hospital. And it wasn't this huge, oh my God, run, run, run. And I feel like that's kind of what we're coming to. So in your life, it is a calm. It is this like, it's like you wake up from realizing that you've been doing things the way that you shouldn't have been. You've been choking things in your life. You've been doing things in a way that doesn't make sense. You have been, when I say choking, it's like sometimes when you want something so badly, you will choke God or choke the universe, or you will like struggle for it so bad that you almost block it from ever coming. And it's like you have this realization of the things in your life that you've been doing that are not helping you. And the King of Cups serves as this like, oh, there's another way we could be doing it. There's another way. There is a calmer way. There is an easier way. We do need to stand up. We do need to take a stance. We do need to be active about things. But there is a way of doing this that I don't have to have all this anxiety with it. I don't have to have all of this pent up fear and frustration. I can just decide, if I've been on the treadmill for a really long time, not getting anywhere, I can simply decide to take a step off the treadmill and just walk into another room or go walk outside. It's like making a decision that comes very easily and very naturally. And I really see this as like a major revolution for you personally, as well as collectively. So the magic you have residing within you to help you through this really pivotal time. We have the Journey and we have the Seven of Wands. Okay. I actually love this because the Journey card, this is not something that you're going to wake up tomorrow and everything's going to be different. It's that you are, a journey takes 1,000 steps, right? Or it's probably something like 100,000 steps because we walk probably more than 1,000 steps a day, most of us. But I swear there's a quote that's like coming to mind. Maybe it's like a journey starts with 1,000 steps. I don't know. But you're starting to like oh, and I love this. I'll show you it closer, of course, but on this card, the journey, it's two roads merging into one, or it could be a road merging out into two. I see this more as two roads merging into one because I really feel like we are in this energy of simplicity. It's we have overcomplicated everything and not realized that we've done it. We have not realized that the change could be so easy. So I really think it's two paths merging into one. And the Seven of Wands, the reason I start smiling is because I know that this isn't going to be the easiest thing in the world because the Seven of Wands is like persecution, okay? It's people saying stuff to you. It's people going against you. It's not going against like in a competition or like anything big. This could literally be just somebody trying to talk you out of it. It could be that simple. And you need to really have your wits about you. I used to say this thing, which if any of y'all have seen the show Community, you're going to know what I'm talking about. I used to say that I'm a level 7 susceptible, where like you could talk me into anything because I stood for nothing, I'd fall for everything. And I used to live in this like whimsical side of my life. I don't anymore. I think I actually have a lot more things that I stand for, a lot more beliefs, a lot more stances on things than I ever have in my life. And I think ultimately, when you feel good about what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting nobody and it's good for you, it doesn't matter what other people think of what you're doing. It doesn't. And the moment you realize that you don't need to live for somebody else and you can live for yourself and make your own choices and do things because it makes sense for you, you take all your power back in that moment. Nobody could convince you otherwise. Nobody could talk you out of it. And I really think you are going on a new journey. You are starting something new that you've never tried before. And the answer has been there for a while. And when it hits you, you're going to go, oh, that was silly. Why didn't I see that? But the magic that you have is your ability to not let somebody else talk you out of it, to not let somebody else steer you into, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't think that way. It's like, you're like, no, actually, this is correct. This is how I should be, what I should think, what I should do. And it is a major change. I do think there is a major change on the horizon, and I don't think you are at a point where you're like, what's the change? This maybe isn't your reading if that's how you're feeling right now. I feel like with that eclipse that we just had, we had a partial solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. With that solar eclipse that we had, it was like we had the aha. We've already been like mourning and putting past versions of ourselves down, and we've been stepping into this new energy. And I know that all of us are feeling it collectively because even in the astrals, we are there's so many like Pluto just moved for the first time in an obscene amount of years. And so I know we're all feeling this new energy, this old self is dissolving and this new self is emerging. And we're finally ready to like stand on business with that and say, no, this is what I'm committed to. This is how I'm committed. This is what I'm doing. And you will not be able to talk me out of it. Is kind of how I see it. That's the magic that you have, is your ability to stay committed and focused no matter what. And all my ADHD girls out there, myself included, I'm talking to you too. You do have the ability to stay committed. Okay. Then we have this next position is the lessons we can use as we go along this. We have the Four of Pentacles reversed and the last quarter moon. So, oh gosh, it's so much releasing, y'all. It is so much releasing. So the last quarter moon, with the lesson the lesson you can use, the way the moon phases work is the last quarter is the quarter right before we hit the new moon. And when you hit the new moon, it's a new beginning, right? We're done letting go. We're done shedding. We're done lowering that. The moon has come all the way down from full into the new. We are done shedding. We are done releasing. And when you're done shedding and you're done releasing, you end up at that new beginning. But here's the thing. The Four of Pentacles reversed tells me that you have said yes to something for far too long because of the money that it has provided. Now, this could be a job. This could be a career path. This could be doing an odd job, a side job. If you're somebody who's a content creator, maybe this is a Patreon, maybe this is a podcast, maybe this is a YouTube channel, maybe this is TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is that you use, Snapchat. Maybe you have gotten like a little bump of money and so you feel like you need to stick with this thing. But I promise you, take it from like, as a content creator, as a seasoned content creator of 15 years, I need to tell you that, yeah, sometimes doubling down is good for you. Sometimes doubling down for 5 years and just like getting into it because you're passionate about this thing, don't let anybody kill that for you. But sometimes if you have doubled down and doubled down and doubled down, there comes a point where you need to ask yourself why you've started. And are you still committed to that original dream? And why are you doing the things that you're doing? What is motivating you to do those things? Maybe at one time you started a fashion blog and that led into short form content around fashion. This is just an example. And you loved fashion. It was for the love of fashion and glamour in the beginning. And now maybe you saw some success, but now your numbers have fallen off. And now what has happened is you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. You're doing it because you want to gain numbers or attention or attraction or, it was your livelihood, right? That's probably one of the hardest ones, especially with that Four of Pentacles, is it was your livelihood at one point. And now it's not doing so hot. It's not really your livelihood. It's not paying the bills. It's not taking care of you the way that you've taken care of it. And in the past, you would have chosen to double down over and over again because that's who you are. But the lesson you can use is that you need to reconnect with a bigger purpose that isn't just money. Because like I said, especially for my creatives out there, if like there is money to be made in the creative sphere, like influencing is a multiple billion-dollar industry. I'm going to be the first person to tell you that it's not going anywhere and there is so much money to be made. However, money cannot be your only reason. Take it from somebody who has been here for 15 years, that has seen the rise and fall of so many different trends. Money cannot be your only reason for doing it. If that is the only reason, is that you think you're going to make a quick buck on the side, you might. But you are the sole provider of everything. You are the editor, the photographer, the videographer. You are the person that has to do set design. You have to write the scripts. You have to be the person that does all the SEO, all the analytics for a really long time, unless you hire some kind of team, and that's also more money. So like, don't let anybody come out here and tell you. I think there's a lot of content out there that's like, you should start your YouTube channel and here's why. It's actually a lot of work. It's actually a lot of work. And I would argue that I have worked more and been paid less for the last 15 years than if I had just worked a normal job. And I know that's not everybody's story. There is like the top like 0.5% that they make a ton of money, but it's not most people's experience. And again, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. Don't let me talk you out of it, right? Don't let anybody talk you out of it if you feel like this is where your journey is going. Oh my gosh, absolutely not. But the lesson here is that the reason has to be greater than just money and stability. And if you're not a content creator, I would say that what you're doing right now, your reasoning has to go beyond financial. And something that I feel like I've even realized in the more recent weeks is that, and maybe somebody else out there just needs to hear it, if you've been going through it and you feel like you've been in survival for years and years and years, because I definitely feel that way. It took me sitting down and making myself do something just for fun. I was like, I'm going to build this Lego set and watch some Netflix. I was like, wow, life is actually so much bigger than just my problems. And I really feel like the news, social media, your neighbor, your cat, your dog down the road, okay? Everybody will have you believing that your problems are the thing you need to focus on, especially in the realm of like wellness and self-help. It gets even darker, that there's always a new thing to fix. There's always something you should be doing. There's always a version of yourself you should be becoming. And don't get me wrong, I think that stuff is all valuable, but we have gotten to a point in society where everybody is seeing it every day. You are being influenced every day. We are so addicted to our phones that we don't leave the house without them. And we've been convinced that it's a safety feature, so we have to have it. And don't get me wrong, I do think there is value in that safety, but life is so much bigger than just being influenced all day by your phone. And you weren't meant to just pay your bills and struggle. Like, your life was meant to be lived. Don't get so busy. Do not get so busy trying to make it that you forget to live, because it will be hollow when you finally reach it. Anyways, that's a big lessons this month, it would seem. Then we have what you need to let go of, Nine of Pentacles reversed, and occult knowledge. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, the way I see this, number one, Nine of Pentacles, that's so interesting. Okay, don't get me wrong, we love the occult in this house, okay? If you hello, my YouTube channel is mainly dedicated to tarot readings. Like, we love occult knowledge in this house, okay? That would be silly to say that we don't. But I do think, and this is something that maybe I should make like a podcast on, which, by the way, my podcast, I don't know if it's coming back to this channel, but many of you have asked me to put it on another channel, and I have another channel for the podcast. I just don't use it. It's literally called the Cozy Babes Club. I'll link it down below. Please make sure you're following it, because in the future, I do think the podcast will end up there. If I continue to put it on YouTube, it will eventually end up on that channel. So just follow it if you don't want to miss out on that, just in case, but also follow it everywhere else. Anyways, why did I bring, oh, maybe I'll make a podcast on it. But ultimately, with occult knowledge, I think we have reached this really weird point, and not everybody feels this way, and not everybody has gone through this, but I do feel like with the mainstream of like witchcraft and astrology, which is a beautiful thing, right? We love having more witches in the coven. We love that. We love more of that being popularized so that more people have access to it. But I do think that, and I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to get what I'm about to say. I do think that sometimes when we start to treat every little thing like it's a sign, we actually lose sight of our intuition. It is this delicate balance of not every single time you see the number 4, is it a sign? Not every single time you see a bird in your tree when there's birds out there every single morning, is it a sign? Not every single time. Like, don't get me wrong, I think having specific symbols and tokens for yourself is a beautiful thing. But I also think sometimes when we are anxious and wound up and not feeling like our true selves, we can convince ourselves. It's like we've gone too far, and we can convince ourselves that everything is a sign when nothing was a sign. Nothing was a sign. And like I said, I feel like it's almost this balance of you really have to be in strong with your intuition to have that kind of connection with God. And everybody has it. Don't get it twisted. I would never be like, oh, you're just cut off from spirituality. Everybody has the ability to tap into that. But if you're not exercising that spiritual muscle and you're just basically going after what everybody else says, I feel like it's really easy to get lost in the sauce, and you end up on a path that you didn't even intend to be on because you were like, oh, that was a sign. And that would, like, a great example of this is like when you're looking for angel numbers and you're like, oh, 444, right? Like maybe that's yours. And you don't see a 444, but you see like 4634297 and then you're like, oh, but all those numbers added up together are 444, like, which they're not. But, or maybe they are, I don't know. Maybe I just pulled that one out, but I don't know what would equate that. But that's what I'm saying. That's like, to me, overdoing it and being like, I'm going to force God or the universe to give me a sign by like over analyzing it, I guess. And I feel like with something to let go of, when I see occult knowledge, it's like we have gotten so lost in trying to obtain all this information, right? Because we are in the age of information, that we're not putting any of that information to use. And it's causing us to feel spiritually out of alignment and disconnected. Because that's the thing, you can read any spiritual book you want. You can read any self-help book you want, right? But if you're not actually putting action into the things that you're learning, you're just picking up information. And that can be an addiction too. Like, there is such thing as too much of a good thing. That can become an addictive habit too, of just convincing yourself that you're doing a good thing by constantly picking up spiritual knowledge and constantly picking up self-help knowledge. And then suddenly you've read like 100 books on the topic, but you don't use it. So you're not actually putting anything that you've learned into action. And this actually, to me, can really dull the senses. So that's what I would say to like what to let go of is really overdoing the information about spiritual knowledge. You need to actually be putting things into practice. If you read all about how great journaling is, automatic writing is for your spirituality, but you're not doing it, do it. If you've read about how good prayer is, but you're not doing it, do it. If you've read about how lighting a candle and meditating is, how good it is every day, you get those same endorphins from reading about it that you might have done had you done it. Like you might have gotten had you done it, if that makes sense. So basically, it's time for action. It's not time to collect more info. And the 9 of Pentacles, this is about letting go of the struggle story. And this, I feel like, is something that I really can speak on. And I'm going to, you know what? Sometimes I get in my head because I'll get comments of people being like, you talk too much. And I'm like, girl, I'm a tarot card reader. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Also, I'm a Gemini moon and an Aries Mercury. I can do this all day. I have the gift of gab. I can talk to anyone, everywhere for a long extended period of time. But, so if you didn't come here to chat, maybe not your place. But the 9 of Pentacles reversed in a lesson. To me, this is about letting go of the struggle story, letting go of this idea. I was just saying to you that there's so much more to life than just thinking about your problems every minute of every day. And I'm not telling you to go out and like mute your problems with substances, which I think is what a lot of people choose to do. I'm not telling you to go out and like mute how you feel, but I think you need to live more life that isn't just thinking about all these problems every day. Like for myself, I said it in a recent podcast that my rent for the month of March previously hadn't been paid yet. And it was like the middle of the month, right? It's been paid now. We're working on things, me and my spouse, but I could let myself think about that every day. When my car was out for repo, I could let myself think about that every day, every minute of every day. And it would stress me. That's how survival mode is. You stress about the things that feel like your life is about to be obliterated. But I think there is so much power. And I'm bringing these things up and I'm being so open and honest with you because I want you to understand that, like, though I have my own privileges, as we all do, I'm coming from this from a place of having lived that. I'm coming at this from a place of having lived that, of having gone through that experience, of having to, not always know that my safety was going to be a guarantee, that my foundation was going to be a guarantee. And I'm still currently going through it. But even then, I am still finding time to have joy. I am still finding time to take care of myself. I am still in the thick of that, making space for myself because it is a requirement. And you're not like, if you constantly are just focusing on the problem, your mind will trick you into believing that you're going to randomly think of a new solution. When you let your mind play and you let yourself do something for the enjoyment of it, this is why people say like they have random shower thoughts, or they have random, like they get their best ideas when they're working out, or they get their best ideas when they're like in the flow state of something else, is because we have to let our minds rest in order to get there. And you have to stop focusing on the struggle. Stop, like whatever that is, even if everything in your life is currently like taken care of, but you're so focused on what's going on in the world, what's going on in this country, that country. Don't get me wrong, we need our activists in this world. We do, we need them. But if you're not somebody that is like a self-proclaimed activist, you don't need to be at the pulse of every single new headline. It is designed to keep you there watching. And it puts your body into a state of fight or flight. And then you're doing survival. Like, don't let anybody take your energy like that. Okay. It's like an energy leak. So what to let go of to me is overdoing it on occult knowledge and not putting it into practice, and also letting go of your struggle story. Now, obviously, if you're in the thick of it, my heart goes out to you. I know what that feels like intimately. I've been there numerous times in my adult life, but you have to let yourself still enjoy little things. That is like where the light gets in. When you are feeling so dark and so down, like nothing is going to ever improve, you're hopeless. That's how the light gets in, is by building community and actually letting yourself enjoy pieces of your life again and working towards change. Okay, moving on to what your guides, what spirit, what God is proud of you for right now. We have insight and enlightenment and the Page of Wands reversed. So I do really think that this eclipse cycle, you really learned something serious about yourself. You learned something about either how you're operating, what you're doing. You learned something that was so important. It kind of changed the road that you were walking on. Because remember, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. But they're really proud of you for acknowledging that. And with the Page of Wands reversed, they're proud of you for not just taking immediate action and for stopping and saying, you know what? I don't need to get up and run. I don't need to get up and do, like, I honestly think with the letting go, this and that kind of go hand in hand, because you've let go of this idea that like there is so much freedom, okay? There is so much freedom in knowing that you need to change something, knowing that you need, like, for myself, okay? I'm currently looking for a job, but I'm not, even though I have reasons to stress, I'm not stressing myself out about it. I'm like, the right job will wait for me. It will be there. When I go to find this perfect job for myself, it's going to be there and I am going to be the best candidate for it. And there is so much peace in knowing that. There is so much peace instead of scrambling and going, oh my God, the job market is so messed up right now. You're not going to be able to find one. Oh my gosh, somebody in my comments, and I am going to call this person out, in my last reading was like, you're getting out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're going to go into that job market and realize how terrible it is. You can't find a job. Everybody's overworked. That's one way to look at it. But there are people out there that are making six figures working from home without degrees. It is the reality. And that's the reality I choose to live in. I will find a job that will pay me extremely well because I am a very seasoned content creator. I have done every job on the end of being a content creator for 15 years. And somebody needs exactly what I am able to do. And in fact, I would be the best candidate for it. And they're going to see that on my resume. They're going to see that on my portfolio and they're going to go, damn, this girl not only did the work herself, but like she really knows what she's doing. She's got an aesthetic. She has got the eye that we need. And I'm going to find that job that doesn't do that to me because they do exist. And I do think it's really easy to get into the mindset of, especially if you've experienced it, right? If you've experienced shitty employer after shitty employer after shitty employer, it's really easy to get into the mindset that this is all there is. But there are people out there that have your dream job. There are people out there that have nice employers. There are people out there that don't work themselves to the bone because they don't have to, because they don't have somebody cracking the whip. There are people out there that are paid extremely well for their skills. And why not me? Why not you? Like, it's just one way of looking at things, and we can change that at any point in time. My point to that is that I do think that, and I had to bring that up because I feel like somebody needed to hear it. Like I really got a download just now that was like, you need to repeat that. So I don't know who that just helped, but back to what I was saying about what your guides are proud of you for. I feel like in my own life, this also applies, right? These readings are for you, but they're for me too. I feel like even in my own life, this really applies because in the past, if I felt like I needed a job, if I felt like I needed a new stream of income, I would put myself to work immediately. I would cancel all and any plans that I had for the future. And I would say, I have to sit in this room and I'm not coming out until I figure something out. And I would spend like 48 hours getting like one sleep in between there, just grinding something out. And it was not my best work. It wouldn't be the thing I would be the most proud of because I was doing it out of a struggle mentality. And the thing that your guides are trying to say, or God is trying to say that they're proud of you for, is that the Page of Wands reversed is not taking such intense action. It's letting the insight and the enlightenment hit you first, taking your time to uncover it, and moving from a place of saying, it's all going to work out for me. Everything is always working out for me. This is going to come to me in divine timing. I don't need to repeat the struggle. Okay, the energy gaining momentum. So now we're going to start getting into the future projections over the next month for you. So the energy gaining momentum, we have cause and effect and the Ace of Cups. I love this. So cause and effect, it's like everything, it's like universal law, cause and effect, that every cause has an effect. Everything that we do there's like an effect that we put on something, right? Something happens because we chose something. And the thing is, with cause and effect and the Ace of Cups, I think this is really nice because it's basically stating that the more you fill your own cup, the more you're going to find that this actually benefits your life in a positive way. The more that you fill your own cup, in the past, you would think, oh my God, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. My whole life is falling apart. Everything is an emergency. Everything feels like it's messed up. But when you actually stop and slow down and say, you know what? Me first. Me before my spouse. Me, I mean, I would never say you before your children, but that's because I feel like children deserve the world. Me before my spouse. Me before my mother-in-law, me before my mom and dad, me before my siblings, me before that job, me before my boss, me before cleaning the house, me before taking care of the car, me first. Because when you take care of yourself first, the thing is you have so much more to give. When you are so well cared for and you feel so good, you have so much more energy and of yourself to give to others. And I'll put myself on blast, okay? I'll go first. I'll put myself on blast. I have recognized over the last like year and a half, maybe 2 years, that not only have I lived an extremely codependent life, but I also struggle with anxious attachment really bad. And this wasn't something that I noticed about myself, but it had kind of come up a few times in previous relationships and like friendships that had ended. I feel like it had come up, but I didn't know what it was. And the more that I have dug into that, the more that I have realized it. And if you want a podcast on attachment theory, I really want to do one because I think it's information that there is a lot of information out there, but I think nobody, like, it's always good to have a fresh perspective. I would love to talk about attachment theory, but basically it's this theory that there's like a few different attachment styles, but when you have anxious attachment, you are someone that in relationships, it's like you are so worried about that other person and how they feel about you and what they think about you. And the only way out, in my experience, is to become more self-focused. But it's really hard for someone with anxious attachment because you immediately feel selfish. You immediately feel like you're doing something wrong to the detriment of the relationship the minute that you put yourself first. And it's a learned behavior from not having a secure attachment with a parent or a guardian, most likely. And I can say in my own life and in my own household, I definitely felt like I was the keeper of my parents' emotions. I felt like I had to regulate them, and they were very dysregulated and continue to be dysregulated people. And I see exactly where it stems from. But when you are taught and raised every single day in that kind of environment, it takes time to undo that stuff. And I didn't know this about myself until probably the last few years. But the thing that I have come to realize is the more that I don't focus on my significant other, and the more that I put all my energy into myself and I say, what am I interested in? What do I want to eat today? Have I taken my vitamins today? Did I, get a glass of water? Did I say eat? Did I eat? Did I write in my journal? Did I pet the cats? Did I put my clothes on? Like and I know somebody out there, I know a lot of you out there are going to relate to what I'm saying. Instead of going, oh my God, did he take his vitamins? Oh my God, did he put gas in the car? Oh my God, did he do this? Oh my God, did he do that? And constantly being this like mothering, smothering force in my significant other's life, I feel like it leaves no room for me. It leaves no room for me. When I'm always worried about the other person. And the sad part is it often is like you might think that you're helping that person, but in reality, you're stunting them as a person because they also this is how we get wonderful, amazing women with some woman's dusty son. Okay. This is how we get there is by smothering and mothering that man. He doesn't feel like he's the man in the relationship anymore and has no say and no control because you're constantly squeezing it out of him. And then you yourself are so mad when he is not acting like the perfect version you have of him in your head, when he is not taking his vitamins and taking out the trash and doing this, that, and the other thing. And I feel like when I see something like this, it's like those of you that struggle in that way, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's parental figures, right? When I see the Ace of Cups and cause and effect, I promise you doing that work of putting your own needs and yourself first, it's going to take you so much farther. It's going to take you so much farther. And you are going to be feeling like it almost feels like a game. When you start to notice how it positively affects your relationships, it almost feels fun. And I know that sounds crazy. If you want more information on this, I would encourage you to check out Margarita Nazrenko online. There's somebody else, there's a man that does it too, that she recently interviewed on her podcast that's amazing. I think his name's Attachment Adam is what he goes by. When you fill up your own cup, you're going to find that the cause and effect is actually so positive. You're not you might feel selfish. You might feel this guilt at first, but I swear to you, it becomes a game. It becomes a game when you're like, oh, what do you mean? Oh, what do you mean you're interested in me now? What do you mean that it completely shifts the relationship dynamic. And to me, it's a win-win. You have your partner way more interested in you again. If you feel like that has been lacking and you've been smothering your partner and there's been a lot of resentment brewing, which in my relationship, that was the case. And it's almost like a game. It feels like, oh, you mean I can just focus on me and suddenly you want to hang out with me more? Suddenly you're more interested in all these new things that I'm doing because you have new things to bring to the table too. Anyways, I'm not doing this very good justice. I would love to make a full podcast episode on it. Go listen to those people if you're curious about what I'm talking about. But the energy gaining momentum is you're going to find that the more you take care of yourself, the better things were. And you're going to be probably mad when you realize that things didn't need to be this hard. Okay, moving on to the dream you are ready to make a reality. We have the waxing crescent. So this is the crescent building up from the new moon. So new energy. But then we have this paired with the Eight of Cups reversed. So the Eight of Cups normally is about walking away from something. I would say you're not walking away. You are building something. You're trying something new. So let's say, for example, you are that content creator, okay? You're not walking away from everything that you built. You're trying to do it in a new and innovative way. And Eight of Cups to me really is you don't have to break everything down and leave everything. You can try something new and like put new fresh energy, put a new spin on it. And I think you're going to come to find that it actually works out better than it was before because you are doing it with a new mentality and a new mindset. Okay, moving on to what is this placement? I have to always remember advice on how to accomplish this. We have the new moon and the Queen of Swords reversed. So the new moon, this literally is letting things be new, letting things be fresh, letting things be exciting. And I would encourage you to join my Patreon because every month we do an astrology forecast, and I emphasize the new and full moons the most in my readings because I am really big on lunar astrology. That's probably my favorite kind of astrology to work with. I'm really big on lunar cycles. But with we have a new moon coming up on, it'll be the 27th. We'll have the new moon in Taurus at the end of this month if you're watching this when it's new. But with new moon and the Queen of Swords reversed, it's like, that's so interesting. The Queen of Swords is like one of the faster energies in the tarot because sword energy usually is very fast. It's very fast mind. But I do feel like with her being reversed, it's like we have a lot of ideas, but we don't need to act on every single one. It's getting very specific on the ideas. I also think it's about saying less. Less is more in this case. So advice on how to accomplish not giving up, but changing things. You actually need to do less. You're doing too much. So, oh, I love this because I keep going with the example of content creator because it's easy for me to talk about, but I feel like even in content creation, it's so easy to look at what everyone else is doing and go, oh my God, I need to make 2 TikToks every day and an Instagram post every day. And I have to upload this many times a week and I have to do blah, 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 blah. So I can stay relevant and stay up there and build my business. But the thing is, when you actually focus on the things that you really want to create, you don't need all of that. You don't. You don't need some kind of new content creation schedule. You don't need some kind of new formula that's going to make the algorithm love you. You just need to show up with your best ideas and like let yourself cook, okay? Let yourself cook. Not literally, but like the phrase, let them cook. Let yourself cook. Let your ideas really like come through you. Like honestly, y'all, recently I started doing my readings like this where it's my face and then I come in and I splice cards in. Y'all loved this so much. My last one of these videos performed way better than all of my other ones in like recent history. And that was me just like trying something new. That was me trying something that I felt like would actually be easier. And I was like in a limited set with where I was, where previously I was trying to do everything like everyone else and like have all these pretty aesthetics and tabletop down and never showing my face. And I feel like that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's a beautiful way to build a brand, but why not just do it my way? Why not just do it the way I want to do it and do it by the seat of my pants? Do it however feels fun and funky and fresh in the moment. It doesn't have to be this perfect curated thing. And I honestly think with Pluto in Aquarius, which we will have for many years now, we're going to find a lot more people doing things like that in the creative space and not sticking to this like hard regimented thing. We're going to find people being a little bit more open to the eccentricity. I can't say that word. It's like eccentric, but eccentricity. Is that how you say that? Anyways, we're going to find that people are less likely now to curate and formulate things like that. And I do think that the advice ultimately, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what is new in your life, what you're reinventing, what you're changing and doing less of, it's less is more and letting yourself really spend time thinking about what you want to make before making it or what changes you want to make before you make them or spending more time with yourself on a day-to-day. And the outcome. We have Aries, which is hilarious because we're in Aries season, and the 10 of Wands. I actually think, so 10 of Wands usually is like taking on too much. But I actually think, interestingly enough, especially this 10 of Wands, because look at it. It's got this like, one match lights all the rest of them. I actually think, especially if you are a content creator or you're into like some new field or something in your life has changed, as I've said here, and you're applying that to your life, you light one match and all the rest of them go ablaze. You light one match and even in the scheme of content creation, it does work like that. I have experienced this in my own career numerous times. You have one viral YouTube video and that feeds everything else that you do. That gets more people on your Patreon. It gets more people to your podcast. It gets more people to your merchandise if you sell it. Gets them to your website. Gets them to buying your courses. Like that, it can be one match that lights the whole thing. And it's not, you have to make sure that every single little thing that you do is the best. It's, you light one match and it makes everything else go up in flames. And you honestly might find that there's a lot of energy that comes, because I also think if you're somebody, something you just need to hear, okay? You need to hear it. If you're someone that you have put a lot of energy into something that you are passionate about, okay? And you have not seen a return on that energy, and you have been there week over week, month after month. What you need to know is the universe, God, whatever, will correct that. The law of cause and effect and the law of karma will correct that eventually. Eventually, if there has been a stop or a hold on something in your life and it just hasn't been flowing, eventually you remove the blocks in your life. This is also how manifestation works. It's not that you can't have what you want. It's that you need to work on removing the block. It's like if there is a dam at a river and the dam is blocked, right? Because that is like the spiritual clutter or the mental clutter, the survival clutter, the story, all the stuff we've talked about. When you remove the block, the dam flows freely, and you'll find that things move extremely fast because of all of that was being held back immediately flows into your life. And I really feel that for you with the 10 of Wands, because the 10 of Wands, like I said, it takes one match to set everything ablaze. Right? If you light somebody's house on fire, it takes one match to set the whole thing ablaze. And I actually see this as a very positive thing. Paired with the Aries card, now I will say, Aries, I mean, for most of us, it is going to be about the self in a general sense, because Aries is the ruler of the house of the self. It also our rising sign is also dictated by the first house, wherever that is for you. And so when I see Aries coming up as the outcome, I feel like you're going to find that where things have kind of slowed down in your life, where things have felt really stagnated, everything speeds up. And this month, I really see that. Astrologically speaking, I see that. In the collective, just feeling intuitively into it, I really feel that this month we are going to finally stop feeling like we're in this slow, because as I stated earlier, we're going from a lot of planets sitting in Pisces, a lot of this Piscean energy. We're shifting into more of the Aries energy, not just because it's Aries season, but we have a lot of planets moving there. Now, we do still have the North Node in Pisces, so it's almost like speed up to slow down a little bit, but we have had so much Piscean energy that I think a lot of us have been a little confused. A lot of us have been feeling like we're dreaming, like we don't really know. We need to touch grass. We don't really know where reality is. And I feel like Aries season, with all of these directs coming, all of these planetary directs, things changing. Check my Patreon if you want more information. It's not out as of yet, but within the next few days, the astrology report will be out for this month. So I do tarot and astrology every month there. And this one I feel like is kind of a big one because there's a lot of planetary things happening this month. But in any case, I really think that within the next 4 weeks, you are going to see some really big forward momentum in your life. Something is going to click into place and you're going to be like, oh, finally, there it is. I've been waiting for you. But it's also again, I really think you're in this calm. You're in the calm before, I don't want to say the calm before the storm, because I don't think that's it. I don't think it means that we're going into this destructive phase, but I do feel like King of Cups is like, I'm here and I'm ready, but I'm not like anxious about it. I'm not nervous about it. I'm ready for what this tide is going to bring. And that's like just what I'm hearing. Anyways, I want to pull a few more cards for you, and then that's going to do it for us. First, I want to pull a card from this creator deck. I really feel like I was channeling for creatives today. So I brought my creative deck here. Again, this deck will be linked down below for you. We have creative signs. Pay attention. What is unfolding? What is calling out to you to explore? That's interesting. You know, I'll go first. Please leave some information in the comments, like talk about it in the comments, and also talk about it in Discord. We have a Discord that I don't feel like I talk about very frequently because it needs an overhaul. I need to go in and change it. But we have a Discord where like all of our community talks. So go there, talk to everyone. But pay attention. What is unfolding? What is calling out to you to explore? I really feel like right now for myself, I'm being called to explore more on my own in terms of like my town. Okay. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I live in Tacoma, Washington. I love it here. The town is fantastic. I feel like I have had such a good experience every time I have left the house this month. Like, I have met so many little shop owners that I love talking to. I recently went to a local astrology meetup, and I had such a good time that I like can't wait till the next one. I feel like I really feel called creatively to spend more time like basically just doing things on my own, because I feel like again, previously really codependent, previously like currently working on anxious attachment. I feel like I would do everything with my spouse. And I'm at a point now where like I take myself to dinner, which I've done before, but I think I'm doing it a little bit more. I plan outings with myself, and I go out of the house and do my own thing. And I really feel like that has been so good for the creative side of myself. So love that. We're also going to pull a card from the Self deck, or it's from the Connections. I'll link it down below once again. This is the Self deck, though. It comes with 3 decks. Hopefully we get a card we've never seen before. Okay, I like this one. What has been consuming my mind recently? And if y'all do want to talk, I'll go first, but like tell me in the comments. What has been consuming my mind recently? I feel like for myself, I have really been consumed with the idea, and it's just because if you listen to my podcast the last couple of weeks, I've talked really in depth about this, but I have recently had a shift in values, and for the first time in my adult life, this has never happened, and it's changed who I am fundamentally. I'm not the same person. And going through that change, I feel like I have been all consumed by recognizing that it didn't always have to be this hard. Like, I don't blame myself and I don't have regrets. Like, I know things happen when they're supposed to, but I do feel like I feel very consumed by like constantly insisting that I had to be a self-employed content creator for all of this time because I was so afraid to give up even an ounce of my freedom. I feel like it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way. I could have given up some of my time to make a consistent paycheck, and I would have actually had more freedom. And it's like, I think about all of the years, like I'm 33, which is not that old, but I'm almost 34. And I've actually been kind of like sad about how, like, I've lived in Washington now since 2021. We're going on 4 years. I've seen almost none of the state. Like, I've been to Forks, Washington. That was really cool. That's probably like the farthest I've been, but there are so many parts of this state I've never seen. And I don't live that far from like I could go to Leavenworth, which is like this German town that has a day spa. I could drive out to Portland, Oregon for the weekend, and I never do these things. Like, and it's because I've had a lack of funds. Like, I haven't been able to do that because I've been in survival mode, just trying to like make more money so that I could live. And I've been doing it for so many years that I haven't allowed myself to explore and have fun. And I feel like I've been very consumed with like, as a younger 20 something, I was so obsessed with making money and I wanted to like make it big and I wanted to make a lot of money. And not for any reason, it was out of scarcity. I was just afraid. And now I'm like, no, I don't need a lot of money. Like, I just need enough money to pay my bills, travel a little bit, not even crazy. Like, I don't need to go to another country every single year, maybe once in a while. Like, travel domestically a few times a year and, eat. I want to eat well. So I do want like a large grocery budget because I'm a Taurus. Okay, we like to eat. I want to eat well and I want to be able to like afford medical expenses, which I have insurance, but like I want to be able to afford to like get all of the medical testing I need and take care of myself. And I don't think any of my wants are so grandiose, but a previous version of me like wanted a big mansion and wanted to drive like a really bougie car. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things, by the way, if that's what you like. It just doesn't really matter to me right now. And what matters more to me is that, this is the last thing I'll say. And I really would love to hear your thoughts for yourself on this. I don't know if you can tell, well, not from where I'm sitting, you can't tell, but I have all these picture frames in my house. I have 8 of them here and across from me, which you can't see, but if you join the Patreon, you'll see it in my vlog, my next vlog coming out. I have picture frames on this other wall behind the camera, and there's nothing in them. The picture frames are blank, and there's one frame on this wall that you can't see that doesn't have a photo in it either. And it's because I haven't lived. I haven't done anything. Like, I have so many blank frames because I got so busy trying to make a living that I forgot to live. And I can't wait to fill all the frames in this house. I can't wait to go and make new memories and have new experiences and try new things. Like, there are so many things in this life that I haven't tried yet. There's like, I've never been to a baseball game before. I don't like sports, but like, I think it would be fun. There's so many things that I've never done. And I just want to experience that. And I want to take photos and remember the moment. And I just feel like that's something I haven't done enough of, something I haven't seen enough of, done enough of. And I feel like I'm actually like in a really beautiful place in my life right now where I think I'm so close to making a breakthrough that's going to change everything. I can really feel that for myself. And I'm going to reflect on this eventually. But yeah, I feel like that's really been consuming my mind lately, is like, it was never about money. It was about having money to have experiences and make memories. And I can still do that without making obscene amounts of money. Yeah, I love luxury. Would I love to travel in a luxurious way? Yeah, that would be awesome. Cool. Would love to experience that, but it's not something that I feel so compelled to chase anymore. And I'm fine living a really simple life. I'm okay with that. I'm more than okay with it. It would, I think, fill me with great pleasure. Sorry, I keep touching this. It would actually fill me with great pleasure to live a very simple life. And I feel like I'm already kind of there mentally, and so the physical reality just needs to catch up. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say on that. This has been a really long video. Thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these. There's a lot more where this came from. If you want more, please go and check out my Patreon. It helps support the making of all of my content, including my podcast. Check out my podcast, available everywhere. And also, many of y'all told me to say it, so I'm gonna. I stopped saying it. I don't know why, but if you got something out of this reading, I do accept tips for my readings. I have Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. I don't expect anything, but like, many of you are like, girl, I just have $5. Let me give it to you. And So there's that. If you got something out of the reading and it helped you and it helped you have an epiphany or something in you shifted and you want to support the making of content like this, if you don't want to join a Patreon or, any of that, you can always send me a tip and I'll always be so grateful to accept that. So Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all listed down below for you. My Patreon, if you want to support me long term, even if you just want to support me for a month, like you still unlock every post I've ever done if you join for a month. And I would love to have you there. So come join the Patreon. Check out the Discord. I'm going to be giving that Discord an overhaul soon. And it's going to be more focused on like doing Pomodoro together, encouraging each other on our to-do lists. We're going to bring more of like a productivity to the Discord. There's still going to be a spiritual corner for like tarot, astrology, things like that, but it's not going to be the sole focus of our Discord anymore. So that will be changing. Look forward to that in the future. If you want to buy a course from me, I have 3 different ones at 3 different price points, KhloeTaylor.com. One is for manifesting your vision board. It will work. Like that is probably of all of my courses. Actually, they're all really good. But if you struggle to manifest off your vision board, it's the workbook that comes with that masterclass. It's a masterclass that like, it will work. Promise you that it will work. I also have Authentically Aligned, which is my 4-week course that goes over a bunch of things. There's a bunch of videos, a bunch of workbooks. Many of y'all have really enjoyed that course. I've had a ton of new students recently, so thank you so much for that. If you'd like to join, it's currently on sale. It's normally like over $200 and it's currently $55 if you use code Eclipse 2024 at checkout. It's on my website. You can see it if you look at courses. And then I also have The Authentic Self, which is a guided meditation and a workbook. So if you want any of those, please check them out. And don't forget to check out Tarot Stack. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring today's video. If you want to follow me anywhere around the web, you know where all my links are down below. And thank you so much for joining me. And please do not forget to follow your plan and not your mood. Bye.